Hi, my name is Lexi Jong and welcome to my channel. Today I am going to be talking about the Pat McGrath Mothership 4 Decadence palette. When this palette first came out, it was limited edition. I am not sure whether it's technically limited edition right now or not. It has been on Pat McGrath's website for a couple of months now, and it does not say limited edition on there right now. So it's possible that it has been made permanent. This palette has been in high demand over the past couple of years. When this palette first came out, it sold out pretty much immediately and people were selling them online for thousands of dollars. It was pretty outrageous. Then it came back with the Star Wars limited edition packaging. Even last week, I saw one of those selling online for $1,300. So it's definitely an in-demand product, not only for the limited edition Star Wars packaging, but just in general for this color story. This palette has 10 shades and none of them are matte. They're all gonna be shimmery, sparkly, and she says it's got that diamond look to them. And I think they're beautiful. Now, I personally love shimmery, sparkly eyeshadow, but I know some people don't. In that case, I would recommend using this more as an addition to one of the other motherships or just other eyeshadows in general. These colors are beautiful. This palette retails for $125 US and it is currently available on the Pat McGrath website. If you checked out my haul video where I opened this, you can see the unboxing for that then. However, I just wanted to note that this is the box it came in, and although it looks like the normal box for the other motherships, it's all flat. This is a picture. So you actually open it here and it slides out. I'm not sure if she's changing the packaging on things or if it's just for the Decadence palette, but there is no, string and loop action here. This palette is made in the United States of US and imported ingredients, and each of the shadows are 2 grams. So there are 10 2-gram shadows. Like the traditional packaging of the other mothership palettes, it comes in the black plastic case with magnetic closure. It's pretty heavy duty, and there is the beveled mirror here right inside. And then we have the 10 shades. The palette also comes with the card of the eyeshadow names. Let's go ahead and swatch. These are the first 4 shadows. We have Gold Standard, Inferno, Blue Blood, Sinful, and then the 5th one here is Underworld. For the bottom row, we have Sterling, Lapis Luxury, Divine Mink, Hedonistic, and Enigma. Let's take a look at the swatches. We have Gold Standard, which is a bright metallic gold. And then Inferno is a coppery shade with tones of peach and rose. So it's a peachy rose copper. Blue Blood is a burgundy shade, and it looks kind of matte in the swatch, but it's actually slightly metallic. There is a metallic sheen to it with just a touch of sparkle, a very slight amount. This is going to be a burgundy shade with a brown base. Sinful is a pale gold with some silver undertones to it, and this is obviously very metallic and sparkly. Underworld is the closest thing to a matte. It's almost matte. It's basically matte with the tiniest bit of sparkle in it. Sterling is a bluish toned silver shade, and again, this is going to be very sparkly. Lapis Luxury is a beautiful teal blue, and this is metallic with sparkle. Divine Mink is a taupe shade with blue undertones to it. So there's a little bit of blue kind of mixed into this, and this is metallic with a little sparkle. Then we have Hedonistic, which is kind of an orangey peachy shade with a little bit of copper in it, but it's mostly just kind of like a rusty orange. And Enigma is going to be a soft, kind of like a fawn type of brown shade. It's a little bit cooler tone, and this one has some sparkle as well. I have 4 looks that I have done with this palette, so please stay tuned for those. But before we get to the looks, let me go ahead and give you my thoughts. Let me begin by saying that I do not have all of the Pat McGrath Mothership palettes. Some of them, I just kind of thought that all of the colors wouldn't work for me, so I kind of held off. And the more I have used some of my other palettes, the more I'm starting to think maybe I do need to add the rest to my collection. So I'm kind of wavering on a few, but my personal favorite is the Subliminal palette because I love those like cooler tones in there, and I love having the mix of neutrals and the mix of, you know, bright shimmery shades. So I think that is like the perfect Pat McGrath palette to me. I didn't order this until now because I wasn't sure how well these colors would work for me. Again, as I mentioned, Subliminal is a lot more neutral and a little bit cooler in tone than most of the other Pat McGrath palettes. And this one obviously has a lot deeper shades, and there are some very warm shades in here. So I wasn't sure how much I would reach for this, but I decided I wanted to give it a try, and I am so glad that I did because I actually really like this palette. Now, it does not unseat my top 3 palettes. My top 3 are Subliminal, Midnight Sun, and Divine Rose 2. However, this is definitely a fantastic palette, and it really makes me want to try some of the other ones that I thought would not work for me. My favorite shade in this palette is Enigma, and I personally just really like playing around with these wide variety of shades. There are so many different looks that you can come up with that kind of like just evoke a different attitude, and I really like it. Now, if you're somebody who really likes matte shadows and you definitely want like a matte transition shade, I would recommend using this palette more in addition to your other Mothership palettes. And that being said, I think this pairs very nicely with my favorite Subliminal palette because these shades mixed with the neutrals from there are just, they're beautiful. Now, I didn't do any looks combining those because I wanted this video to be strictly on Decadence. But if you have any desire to see looks combining the two of those in the future, just let me know. The quality of these shadows is definitely up to par with the other Mothership palettes. As a matter of fact, I have actually noticed less fallout than I have with some of the other palettes. And honestly, I have not gotten any big chunks of fallout at all. And when I did get a little bit of fallout, it was from the deeper blue shades, and I honestly didn't even see it on my cheeks. But then when I finished my concealer afterwards, and when I went to put that in, you know, I had a little smear of blue. So there was definitely a little fallout there, but it wasn't really something visible. So I'm very impressed with these shadows. Everything has blended smoothly and gone on nicely. I've used them with and without primers, and I also used, one of the looks I did was on top of the Giorgio Armani eye tint to kind of use as a base, but not a traditional eye primer. So overall, everything was perfect. The longevity of these shadows is up to par with the other Mothership shadows that I have. Using a primer, by the end of the day, I have actually had absolutely no creasing, no fading or anything. That's with the Anastasia Beverly Hills eye primer. Using the Giorgio Armani eye tint as a base, I started to get a tiny bit of creasing right at the crease, but it wasn't something noticeable unless I really looked, and that was after about 8 hours or so. So it was definitely a full day's worth of wear, and you know, unless I really looked for it, you wouldn't notice. So I think it turned out great. Now, when I used it without the primer or without the eye tint, it did have a little bit shorter wear time, but I still got about 7 hours or so. And I didn't actually have creasing as an issue. It was more that I had a little bit of fading as some like particles probably just stopped adhering as well. So overall, I think everything was great and I really liked it. I do personally prefer using a primer with these shadows because I think it does help some of these metallic shades go on a little bit more smoothly and you don't have any like patchiness or anything. However, I didn't really notice patchiness without the primer. Well, maybe like a tiny bit, but once you like actually blend it blended in smoothly so you wouldn't see it. It was just upon the initial application. And you can see that in the eye looks that I create. In summation, I really enjoy this palette. I'm glad that I got it. I think it is a great addition to my collection. I like to use it on its own for these bright, sparkly looks, but I also really like pairing it with some of the other shades in the other Mothership palettes. And I think that makes this palette very versatile because you're really getting a lot of really nice colors that work very well with all of the other palettes basically that she has come out with. One of the things I like about this palette is that you've got a lot of bright colors in here, but you also have a lot of deep colors. So you can go for a deeper, smokier look, but you can also go for something a little bit lighter and brighter, like what I have on now, which to me looks very summery and a little beachy. And I personally, I really like having that dualistic nature inside one palette. It just makes everything a lot more versatile for me. Now let's go ahead and take a look at the 4 eye looks that I created. MCG34 in Enigma. S33 Divine Mink. T7 Sterling. Chikuhodo T7 Lapis Luxury. Chikuhodo T7 Underworld. Using my finger into Blue Blood. Finger Gold Standard. Sonyeji Pencil 1 Gold Standard. Chikuhodo T7, I wiped it off and I'm not adding any shadow. I'm just kind of tapping over all of the edges. Sonyeji Pencil 1 Divine Mink. I wiped off Pencil 1 going into Enigma. Back in with the MCG34, no shadow, just blending. Pencil 1 in Sterling. I'm going to add some black eyeliner and I will be back. This is the final eye look up close. And I just added some black pencil eyeliner. I did a little tight lining and along the waterline there. And my eyes are very sensitive, so they water very easily. And I don't typically do that, but I did that today and I added some mascara. And I will be back with a distance shot. These are the eyes from a distance. I haven't finished the rest of my makeup. The only thing I have on right now is the La Mer Radiant Skin Tint. I have the Anastasia of Beverly Hills primer on my eyes. I'm starting off with the Surratt. This is the medium smoky eye brush, and I'm going into Sterling. Some S33 into Inferno. Taking the Surratt Smoky Eye Brush, again, no additional shadow, and just kind of blending the two together right at the top of the crease. Chikuhodo T8 into Gold Standard. Chikuhodo T12 into Blue Blood. After using the shadow on this brush, I'm just kind of smoothing the edges between Gold Standard and Blue Blood, so it looks like the gold is kind of tapering off as the Blue Blood starts. You can see that they've kind of blended right there in the middle. Wiping off the Chikuhodo T12, going into Lapis Luxury. Wiping off the brush and again just kind of tapering them into each other. Wiping off the T12 and going into Sinful. Just putting this right in between Blue Blood and Lapis Luxury. Adding a touch of Sinful in between Gold Standard and Blue Blood. Going back with the Smoky, and I'm actually just going to blend up and down till it blurs just a touch. This brush is great at kind of giving you like a blurred watercolor effect on the eye without removing shadow. This is the upper lid look. I'm going to add some black eyeliner and do the rest of my makeup before I do the under eye. And this is the final eye look up close. And I will show you a distance shot. I haven't finished all of my makeup yet, but this is the distance shot for the eyeshadow. I have on the Giorgio Armani eye tint in shade 8, which is called Flannel, and this is just acting as my base today. You can't really see it, it's just a very light coat. SMG34 Enigma. Sonia G Soft Shader in Sterling. Sonia G Soft Shader Sinful. Sonia G Soft Shader, wiped it off, just blurring these edges. Linda Hallberg 333 Divine Mink. And this is the finished eye look up close. I'm gonna go ahead and add some mascara and I will show you a distance shot. And this is my final look. So you can still get a pretty understated look from this palette. On my lips, I have a mix of the Sisley Fido Lip Twists in number 1 and number 8. And I have the Anastasia Beverly Hills eye primer on, and this is the Esom G34 in Enigma. Esom S33 Inferno. Sonia G Builder Pro Sinful. Sonia G Builder Pro Hedonistic. Esom W36 Blue Blood. Surratt Medium Smoky Brush, no shadow, just going up and down very softly. Dipping Linda Hallberg 333 into Inglot Duraline and going into Gold Standard. Same brush in Inglot Duraline, dipping into Blue Blood. Staying as close to lash line as I can. And this is the final look for the upper lash line. I'm going to finish my makeup before I do the lower lash line. I want to keep the lower lash line kind of light and just keep the eyes looking very bright. So I'm going to use the Sonia G Flat Definer in Sinful and just edge that close to the lash line along the lower lashes. For a touch more emphasis in the inner corner, I am going in with the same brush in Gold Standard. Here is the final eye look up close. I'm going to do my mascara and brows and I'll be back with a distance shot. And here's the final eye look from a distance. To me, this looks very bright and summery and I really like it. Thank you so much for watching this video and I hope it was helpful. If you enjoyed this video, please give me a thumbs up and hit that subscribe button if you haven't already. And we are getting close to 1,000 subscribers, which means we will be getting a community tab soon, which I'm super excited for because then I can post sales notifications and things like that there. If you are not currently following me on Instagram, right now I do post current sales and deals that I find in my Instagram stories. So please be sure to check that out. We will be doing a giveaway for the 1,000 subscriber mark. So please share this video with your friends. Hopefully we can get there very soon. And I can't wait to see you guys in my next video. Thank you so much for joining me. I hope you have a great day. Stay safe and healthy.